Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my Floral Fridays, the segment where I give you drawing and painting tips all through the art of flowers. It's Moody Dreamer, and today my Floral Friday is going to be focusing on watercolor and color pencil. If you're someone who's wondering if you can even use watercolor and color pencil together, or you just want to see how I use watercolor and color pencil together, this is the perfect video for you. Before we get started, I just wanted to draw this out, of course, and also just show you guys the materials that I'll be using, which of course will be available in the description box. And I also wanted to let you guys know that my source photo essentially is from Pexels once again, which is a really cool website where photographers let you download their imagery for free. Of course, you can donate, and it's just a really good place for somebody who's, trying to get some practice in. So let's go ahead and get started. So after you have your initial idea drawn out on paper, you definitely want to take your watercolor, or the method that I'm using is I'm going to take my white watercolor and I'm going to start establishing the highlights. The best way to do this, of course, is to squint when you're looking at your source photo and to really just see which parts are pushing out the most, which parts are really bright, and also which parts are really dark. The great thing about using a toned paper is that you already sort of have your midtones already worked out. So, definitely use the color of the paper to your advantage and really just work on the highlights and the shadows initially. Now for the background, the background is really wonderful in the source photo. It's just really atmospheric. So I really just wanted to keep it, really loose. And for that, I highly suggest that you keep your paper really wet, and you also keep your brush really wet, and you keep the paint itself really wet, just the wet on wet technique, sort of keeping everything super flowy. That's going to really create like that flowy, the petals are touching air sort of feeling, which is way harder to achieve in color pencil, much easier to achieve in something that's fluid like watercolor. Also, don't be too upset with me. I didn't tape my drawing down, mainly because I never really tape them down. It's easier for me to just flatten it later, but if you're somebody who, it's a true pet peeve of the warp, go ahead and tape it down. And also keep layering. I think that's why it started warping, because I just sort of kept going and kept layering, and I wasn't really too worried about the warping, but for those who are, tape it. And so now I'm beginning to apply the color pencil on top, and essentially it's just sort of a rinse and repeat. You go in with your highlights and you put in your bright points, and then you go in with your darks and start establishing your darks. And also, start establishing some midtones. If you need some extra midtones in there that the paper can't quite give you, feel free to do that as well. Really, the main thing to remember when you're working with watercolor and color pencil is to sort of choose a moment when you want to apply the color pencil, because you can't really apply the watercolor on top. So once you commit to the color pencil, that's it. So you just sort of have to, you know, think about that when you're working on your piece. I guess this would be a great time to talk about the materials. I've never really done a formal review on either the Artezas or the Pretty Excellent watercolors. The cool thing is that they're both available on Amazon, so it was really cool to do a drawing where all the supplies were pretty much available on Amazon. But how they performed was really wonderful. The Pretty Excellent watercolors are extremely vibrant, so it was really fun, you know, finding a way to sort of mute the vibrancy of the purples and the blues and the greens. And I really enjoy the Arteza pencils. You know, a lot of people kind of hit it on the mark when they say they're sort of soft but can hold a point. And they do blend really well. So for this drawing, I think they worked really well, and working in tandem with the watercolor, I think they were perfect for them. Another thing that I really enjoy about the Arteza pencils are the names of the pencils and how creative the names are, and I think that's really the reason why I chose to use them for this drawing, because they have so many beautiful floral names. So, yeah. I definitely say, depending on, you know, how comfortable you are in either watercolor or color pencil, you're going to sort of lean into one or the other more, you know, also depending on the subject matter. You know, for the background, I really didn't need the color pencil at all. I really didn't want to use the color pencil at all. But for those fine details, especially for the flowers that are like really in front, really in focus, you really want your color pencils for that. You want to keep them sharp, and you really want to, you know, just draw as much as you can possibly see, you know, with your pencil. If you think you can do it, if you think you can draw it and render it, you know, do it, you know, because that's what's going to make your drawing more three-dimensional and more dynamic. I guess before we wrap this up, some of the extra little supplies that I used besides the Artezas, I did use a Prismacolor color erase pencil as the initial drawing utensil in the beginning, and I did have to go in and use my Luminance White, you guys, for some highlights. Of course, I will be using craft paint as well for those really lasting highlights at the very end. But yeah, overall, I'm just really happy with how the piece came out. I also did a few petals in the background in watercolor that I really didn't do too much work on to sort of keep them nice and out of focus. And again, that's just one of the other benefits of using watercolor, just the out of focus effect that you can get. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Here is the final result. Really enjoyed it. Super fun. I hope you guys give this a try. Once again, thanks for watching, and feel free to check out my other Floral Fridays. Check out my other videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.